So these ones work well for live. Yeah, so it's been an adventure in the tech stuff, and like I'm a 5 out of 10 as a tech guy. You know, like.
We're going live right now.
All right, cool. Do we need? We're gonna get hot in here, but you're saying if it's working first?
Can we
Cool.
make a little space?
Yes. Yeah, we can move all of these things.
You said you want me to go up overhead and then go
Yeah, you can move his
to
computer, too.
your face, Oliver?
What's up? We'll start.
Overhead.
Yeah, we're gonna need to. When I talk about, let me get a good shot of this website too.
You want me to go into your face and when you start introduction, right?
Just, I trust your judgment.
Okay.
Yeah. Dan, I'm gonna move your computer real quick.
As you've seen, it has helped
And
a
then
lot.
if we get our headphones on.
You guys
it'll
want
make some
water?
room. We're gonna have some kava in a minute, actually. So we're gonna get right into it.
Oh, I'm good. I have a whole
We're
thing all
gonna
full of
get
water.
right into
Sorry, I
it.
didn't know you were asking me for water.
And then get yourself. Yes. If you don't like that chair, we can trade chairs. There's 2 other ones over here.
We're live. It's working. We're on YouTube
So,
right now.
hey, what's up, YouTube? We're still getting our stuff together.
This is our debut.
So yeah,
There you go. Now it's
it's a little pre-show for the Doing Better show.
Behind the scenes.
BTS.
DBS behind the scenes, not BTS, DBS. Oh, DBS BTS.
We are not burning anything, let alone a stage.
You want to switch chairs? Get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get that one out of here. Hold on.
I'm not
Oh, yes.
Let's here switch that one down to you. Give you that one out of here.
Everything I just showed you, remember.
That's
All right,
repetition
I'm
is
gonna
out
protect
here,
the-
remember,
the
shit.
tech.
it took a hot minute for me to remember all that. I could half create that, but I have to get my headphones out now. Fuck.
Whatever price is another chair. If you want that one, take that one. Doesn't matter. This is comfy too.
Fresh out of Savers.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Sensitive club.
What the fuck is wrong with these headphones?
Yeah, this one's comfy.
Why is it built like
Quick
this?
plug.
Okay. And then everyone should have their headphones. Let's make
Here.
some room over here.
Boom.
That should be you. And
Did I
that's
fuck
your-
it up?
Did you?
think
I
I-
don't think so. What did you fuck up?
It's off a little bit if you look at it.
Oh, that's fine. You straight up.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, it's
Awesome
fine.
sauce.
It'll be good.
Yeah, sounds good in my headphones.
And then get yourself get that mic turned to you a little bit better. Something
How's
like-
that?
That's good.
That's
Oh,
better.
get
Let's.
it.
Hold on.
We're gonna have to tighten that one. If it'll tighten up, if not, I have a better mic clip too. We can get on there. Oh, you know what I can do? Let me give you a other one. Hold on. Let's give you.
What a guy.
This one instead. Unflattering angles of me on the internet.
Don't worry, we'll take
Nah, they
screenshots
only
later.
sing from this camera, so they
good.
didn't get to see anything.
Good, good, good.
I know.
Yeah, that works. Okay.
Awesome sauce.
All right. Look at us.
Absolutely locked in.
Season 3.
All right.
All right.
Are we? How
You
you?
think we could both fit in this camera?
If I move it.
Did you want to turn that a little bit? See if you can get us both in
toward
it.
me.
Let me try to put my legs in here.
I can scooch a little bit. There you go.
Look at us.
Nice. Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Great.
All right, we're on YouTube and Rumble, or just
Yeah,
you?
we're on YouTube and Rumble. Working. Audio sounds amazing.
You got those
Shit
links
actually is
out?
working.
You want to send some links out too while we're doing it
Doing it right now.
on our stuff? Danny has to do all the social media things because I hate it and suck at it. So,
And also, you're old.
well, that's probably the variable that goes.
You are inept in when it comes to social media.
Your microphone's mad loud back there, engineer Des.
All right,
Gotta
pardon.
lower it.
It's number one.
Hey, you're the engineer, bro.
I'm aware. I'm like, which one's mine?
Then you're not aware if you don't know which one's yours. There you go.
Alrighty. Is that better?
Just a smidge.
That's
There, you're
perfect.
good.
Beautiful.
Awesome sauce.
There you go. Cool. All right, let's give him a second.
I
Get those
can't wait
links
to-
out.
I'm gonna drink 5 water
Already got
bottles.
6 people.
Well,
waiting on
don't
us.
trip over 5 fucking wires back and forth. to
Oh,
the water
also,
bottle,
I also
please.
gotta make sure not to.
Just
Drop.
wave at me and I'll hand them over.
Also, gotta make sure not to spill anything. Dad would.
Rumbling.
So we got a little. We'll start for real at 8:00. So we'll make it official. Hey, hello, 8 friends watching the pre-show.
Hello.
3 minutes till we launch season 3 of the Doing Better show, which we're very excited for. We've put a lot of effort into this, believe it or not.
You can tell.
Yeah, we're up in the game all over the place. We're really trying to put the Doing Better in the Doing Better show name.
Step it up a level.
You got to do it. And we got you can't see him on camera, but we have engineer Des back in the building, which is also very exciting.
Oh, wow.
After he missed pretty much all of season 2, so it's good to have him back, learning new things and getting better every day.
Always.
All right, and we have.
Should I have both headphones in or just one?
One's fine. You don't need the. Yeah, you got the ones with the duct tape on them because you're not on camera. So.
And I'm not important, I guess.
Well, I mean that's a whole different issue. You'll get more important. Don't worry.
Yay!
Not if you yell in my fucking ear though.
He's gonna be able to run this whole live.
You know we might.
Oh yeah, I got the most important job. It's like the O-line basically.
Exactly. We might need to sacrifice a little sound quality for a little temperature quality and air quality. I think. You want to reach behind you and open that window a smidgen. Yeah. If you can, it's a little awkward.
It's getting a little.
It takes a little oomph.
It's getting a little hot in
stuffy,
here.
Yeah, a little stuffy.
Getting a little Nelly. Is that Nelly? Did Nelly make that song?
Nelly, yeah.
It's getting hot. Okay.
Yes.
Please keep all your clothes on, please.
Yes.
Please.
There you go. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Cool.
We do not want no Diddy parties in here. No Diddy parties.
Yeah,
We're
for
not on OnlyFans. We're only on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We knew gambling on Rumble, but not anything else.
And this is our first live on YouTube. We've decided we have to go that route. We'll see how long we can last on YouTube until we start getting dings for
20
content.
minutes. I'm calling it. We're gonna banned.
Volume's still too loud, bro.
Pardon?
It's okay. Or just sit back when you talk. Either way, it's fine. Not that far back. Now it sounds like you're in the toilet. Which, given the sound you made, is probably wicked appropriate. Yeah, so we are going to do our best to stay on YouTube. I have some content queued up. Depending on we might end up in discussions and not even get to any of this specific content. We are in the first episode of the season, so it might take a little doing. I think we got to come up a little bit on that camera real quick though, because it's chopping off my head. Oh, it's one of my greatest features.
Let me put some audio behind that.
Thank you for doing that.
Josh, I could put the headphone in right now. That'd be kinda nice. My only problem with that is the zone out. Which I really can't be doing. I really gotta put my headphones. My shit's crusty and dusty.
How's that? I like that better. Good. All right. Ta-da-da. 10 o'clock. We ready?
Awesome.
You good?
Yes.
Is my water?
They've been ready.
Where's my phone
right.
at?
We good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hello, friends, and welcome. My name is Oliver Ox, and this is the Doing Better Show, Season 3. Very, very, very excited to be back. We have a great show today. We have a guest, a wonderful guest, Greg Gately from the Root Awakening Kava Bar in Nashua, one of my favorite places, actually, one of my new favorite places in the world. We're gonna get into we're missing a couple people today because of illness. Actually, 2 of our friends who were supposed to be joining us on our panel today. We now have a panel of 1. Beth is here today. Hi, Beth.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, wonderfully. And of course, we got DZ here.
Can we get ones in the chat if you're sick too? Because I've been hearing everybody's sick today.
Everybody's sick. So some people will say, "Oh, it's sick because it's flu season," and I heard a different take on this, which tends to jive with my experience, which is it's candy holiday followed by pie holiday followed by whatever, at the same time that our days are getting shorter, we're getting less vitamin D, we're getting less fresh air, we're getting less sunlight. We then eat all the fucking worst things that we know are terrible for us in massive amounts.
But it's fire. It's Thanksgiving.
I mean, I'm super guilty this Thanksgiving, as I usually am. And then we deplete, and we also drink more than otherwise, and do all those other things, and then we get sick. And I think from my own experience, I haven't been properly sick in the winter in years, and I don't really drink very much at all anymore. And I try to avoid too many pie days and candy days, etc. And I would say, I'm around just as many germs as I always was. I have just the exact same exposure to all those things. So it feels to me like that's a more logical explanation. But I'm certainly not a doctor, and we're on YouTube now, so I better watch what the fuck I say.
Yep. Community notes.
All the notes. So I think I think Danny's the only one who has not been to Rude Awakening yet. Beth, you've been a few times.
Yep.
So Rude Awakening is a kava bar, and let's get right into that actually. So Greg, tell us about you. Greg was actually our first ever guest on the Doing Better show. Back when we recorded, I went and set up at Rude Awakening, and I'm trying to remember why. So my wife found. I think you maybe it was an article. It was something about Rude Awakening, and was like, hey. This is a weird thing. We're weird people. Let's go try it out. Like, what is this thing? Let's go do it. So because she's awesome and figured those things out, we went and sort of wandered into Rude Awakening. And it was a transformative experience for me because one thing I've really struggled with as someone who doesn't drink much anymore is I love to go out. I like live music. I like trivia nights. I like all that kind of stuff. But like I just can't hang. Like, I can't drink 6 beers and go to work the next day. I can't drink 6 beers and not get sick, and not ruin my health and whatever. So I sort of had reached the point where I'm like, all right, I guess I'm like not doing that stuff anymore. And Rude Awakening is like 7 minutes from my house, and it means that that's no longer the case. So, Greg, tell us about kava. Tell us about Rude Awakening.
So, yeah, and I Kava, yes, it's the Kava bar, but it's the first Kava bar in New England. To be that, to be a first of anything, is just, amazing. But to be part of something that is transformative for people's lives and helps people in the community in such a way, and to bring that, to be the martyr, to trailblaze, to finally bring it to this region, that's like what I really stand on, is we are the first. So, there's going to be more that pop up. We're going to be replicated but never duplicated. So, yeah, so it was June of 2022. That's when we first opened. So it was the, before I opened, you had to go to New York City just to sit in a kava bar. They're mostly down in Florida. It's about 300. The first kava bar is 2002. So it's generally, with that timeline, it's new, even to the United States. So, so we brought it in 2022, and it was a roll of the dice. I didn't really know what to expect, and fast forward 2 years later, we've grown exponentially. Second location coming. We'll talk more about that, but yeah, it's been better than I could have ever possibly dreamed of. Yeah.
The vibe in the store is so amazing. Like anytime you walk in, it's really busy, which is awesome, because I remember when I first started going there, it was early days, and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, and I'm sure you felt the same thing too, because it's a weird thing that most people have not heard of, don't have familiarity with, and I'm just so excited when I go back there now, because not only is it always busy, there's cool, it's a very different vibe than walking into a bar, because people are super friendly. Mm-hmm. You can literally just start talking to anybody there. And that's good for me, because I'm weird and I like to do, I like to talk to random people, and not everyone's comfortable doing that, and I am. So I can literally overhear somebody talking about the Celtics and talk about the Celtics, and never hear somebody talking about food and jump into that conversation, and no one's mad. And it's a great vibe. We went to our first trivia night a couple weeks ago, and that was so fun too. Again, it's just such a great, fun, competitive, silly, it was.
You'll be back this week, right? So I can get some revenge.
We will be back this.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I may or may not, have won on my first.
Yeah, you kind of beat us by a point, but.
So tell for those who don't know, what is kava?
All right, so kava, it's actually related to the black pepper plant. So it's a root from the South Pacific Islands, the Fiji Islands, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu. So depending on what island you go to, you might get a different experience with kava. So depending on the island, it can have two different effects. Either your mind or your body's going to get affected. So I actually brought some kava today. This one's from the Fiji Island, and this one's we call a heady kava. So what that means is when you drink it, whatever kind of gray noise or, the chattering monkey, I call it, where your mind's just continuously racing, looking down at your phone, thinking about something your boss may have said earlier in the day, kind of shuts it off. So roots naturally just ground you, so you stay present in the moment without all that chaos up here. Just kind of shuts it off. And when you're in a bar setting with a bunch of people like that, with just good, clear focusedness, that's what kind of, creates an environment for good conversations.
You sold me.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
sold me.
That was an easy sell. Yeah. I haven't got to the good stuff yet.
But I think that's a great explanation because you get the sort of social drinking part of it, and you get a definitely, I don't know if buzz is the right word. You get a feeling that is positive and uppy, but there's no intoxication.
Right. Yeah. So we've been open since June of 2022. Something I always tell people, because I get a lot of customers that come in, and you can see the body language, like, oh, what am I getting myself into? What is this voodoo lounge? And then I always like to kind of give them a heads up, like, hey, look, we've been open since June of 2022. We haven't had a single drunk driving. No one's ever been pulled over leaving my place. We've never even had the cops called for any reason whatsoever. Hey, actually, I had a crackhead in my bathroom. I called the cops. But, hey, Main Street, Nashville, it's kind of a given. You can get that anywhere.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, we're batting a perfect 100. And so the feeling you get is, I get a bunch of different analogies. I've heard it feels like you're stepping out of a hot shower. Someone told me it feels like you're meditating with your eyes open. It does act on the same receptors as alcohol, so you kind of get that same rewarding feeling of feeling good, like that dopamine hit, but you don't lose your cognitive function. So the same person you were when you walked in, you'll be the same person after slamming down 5-6 of these shells. You just be more relaxed. Kava naturally acts as a social lubricant, so you'll just start to chat, and you'll start chatting about shit that you'll remember. You're not going to send out any drunk text messages and regret what you said the night before. So, yeah, it's a really nice, calm, relaxing feel.
And I can attest to the higher consumption ends of things because I'm a fast beverage drinker. I just drink quickly in general. So, like, with alcohol, that got me into an awful lot of trouble because alcohol does change who I am in a way that is almost entirely negative. And with kava, like, I've had more than 5 or 6 shells in an evening, and there's you drive home perfectly fine. You don't go home and destroy the refrigerator. You don't vomit anywhere. And then I wake up in the morning and I feel absolutely fine. There's like no after effects at all. And so for me, it's just like, it's had a great effect on my life in that way. Just being able to go out, hang out, and like have a few, but not get any of the downsides to that. And especially with the community that you're building in Nashua, the people that go there, you get that all the good sides of a night of boozing without any of the negative sides of it.
Yeah. I mean, it especially if you're between that age of 18 and 21. I mean, anyone can drink it, but there's also that aspect of I'm 18 years old, 19, 20. I can go overseas and shoot M16 against our enemies that we don't even know why. But anyways, but you can actually come into a kava bar. You're 18 years old. You don't have to be 21. You don't have to get a fake ID. And 18, 19, 20, you find like someone to do. And for those folks that just are above 18, 40, 50 years old, we get age groups, across the board. I've had someone that was 92, fucking slamming down shells, and he was loving it. He's like, how many of these do I need to feel it? So, that whole, feeling rambunctious, it's out the window with kava. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Are we gonna bust them out? Or are we gonna do a little bula action?
You don't have to ask me twice. Yeah. So, so what we're gonna do, the kava that I have right now is from the Fiji Islands. It's more of a heady kava. If you go, 500 miles north to the Solomon Islands, that may not be the right island. That's 500 miles. Anyways, you might have different effects. So you might get, a body kava, meaning if you have achy joints or muscles, and it has a different taste profile, it will actually alleviate pain. So the one we're gonna have, really good for stress, anxiety. You got that monkey on your back, and it's really cool when I see customers walk in. You can see the 9 to 5 just wearing on them. You can see in their body language, and I'll ask them, you want a heady or you want a body heady? By the time they end up leaving, it's just like, thanks, dude. Man, like, now I can finally go back out into this, in this world, this crazy, shit show outside these 4 walls. So, yeah, it really feels good to be able to serve this and see the effects. It's not medicine. I'm not a doctor. But damn, the effects it has is pretty remarkable.
For those you watching, does you want to switch over to my screen real quick? So here in the world where we're at, so there's Fiji right there, and you said the Solomon Islands are up there, so yeah, there we are.
Oh, maybe
east
fact
of
checking.
Australia.
I'll be like 2,000 miles.
Nice, you're right. It's north. Yeah, it's north. You were right.
Is it? Okay.
So there you go. Cool.
Yeah, so that's Solomon Islands. We also have Solomon Kava at the bar right now. We usually like to keep like 2 or 3 different strands, blends, whatever you want to call it, just so we can give our customers an option. What's your body asking for? What's your mind asking for? So, with that being said, I didn't know we were gonna have 4 people, so I only have 2 shelves.
Don't worry, I got herbal tea.
Yeah, all right, okay. We got some Mother Nature on the other side of the table.
Cool.
And I've done this before. I have my own setup at home, so.
Oh, nice. All right, we got a believer across the table. I love that.
All right.
So on the islands, instead of saying cheers, we say bula, and bula means the celebration of life. So without further ado,
Camera. There you go. No, there you go. So
there it is.
there you go.
Should I say that again?
Yeah, thank you, please.
All right. So
I was pointing at the engineer does. My bad.
Yeah. So actually, what's pretty cool, it's gonna be a little plug for Rude Awakening, but every day at 7:00 we do this. All right. So we give away a free shell to whoever walks into the bar, and we do a 7:00 community bula, where whoever's in the bar, we pour them a shell like this. We come together, the kava tender on.
Actually, why don't you try it? Yeah. I want Dan to try it. He's never tried it before.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a little
pro.
different. It's gonna be a little different. So while you're doing that,
I like different.
all right, so so we do this every day at 7:00, and we usually like to do a little speech. We get everyone kind of into it, and we talk about something we're grateful for in this life. So today, it's December 1st. So the kava tender Olivia, shout out to Olivia. She said, shout out to everyone here, and it's the first day of the first month, and best of luck for everyone into this, closing out the year. So to that, we're gonna do a bula. So. With that being said, bula is something you're grateful for, so I'm just grateful that, let's do a bula to having your first season episode, season number 3, season after season, but kicking it off, and, much blessings to the future to come, and, with the kava, we'll go ahead and do a bula and do a traditional bula.
Bula.
So bula.
Feeling very grateful.
Just slam it
Right
down the hatch, baby.
Right down the hatch, baby.
Yeah.
Whole thing.
Might start getting a little tingling on your
Yeah,
lips.
Yeah.
you have a little tingling in the back of your throat.
While I was
too,
drinking
yeah.
it, I was like feeling stuff. I was like, what? I think y'all got into my head.
Good.
I've always gotten a heady feeling, so I
Yeah.
actually don't like driving after I've had kava.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I still get kind of that buzz and that heady feeling.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I tend not to. I mean, I don't know if I get a little bit of a heady feeling, but nothing that feels
It's more
impairing
like
at
eating
all.
an edible versus taking a shot.
I find that it can also mix well with eating an edible as well.
I've gotten to the
I've
age I
heard.
can't do that
I've heard.
I
anymore.
could tell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've gotten to the age I can't do that anymore. I went and I got some nice edibles. It's legal, and I had them, and I had a bad trip. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in the right mindset. I did it again. Bad trip. Third time, I thought I was going to die and they were going to find my dead body.
You're persistent. I
So
like
I
that.
was like, all right. And I haven't gone back.
Do you know about the night fighting place across from you? I heard that is near you.
Knife fighting.
Night fighting.
So it's called Knights Hall.
Yes, actually, shout out to Knights Hall. They actually they designed my Worcester bar. A lot of our wall art. Yeah.
Oh, because the reason I knew nothing about this, and then Beth said for her birthday, which recently happened, happy birthday, that she went and did that. I didn't know this was a thing before, so I'm just a little fascinated by it. So I guess this is in Nashua too. Everything is in Nashua, folks. Come to Nashua.
I just started working out of Nashua too. So I didn't see that comedy.
Like, what the fuck?
You're about to see me there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's a professional tournament.
Yes.
And the place in Nashua, to get people to come and join their club and join their league for their team, because they're a team that competes nationally.
Yes.
And
Internationally. Yes.
Yes, because they've been international. They're the first U.S. club.
How long has this been a
Nashua.
thing?
I don't know, but it's a crime that not enough people see these.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Never even heard of it. So yeah, I guess it's a whole nother take on Ultimate Fighting.
If you know anybody out there, let me know, because I do marketing. That's literally my job. So if not enough people seeing that,
Okay.
Gotta get more
All
people
right.
on that, huh?
So actually, two of the fighters in that, they come to my bar. They literally beat the shit out of each other. Like they have like these, the objective is to just knock out your opponent, and they have the armor on, but they come out with maces, clubs, swords, and they weighted axes, and they literally go to knock you out. It's like UFC minus the weapons, and it's wild. Yeah,
I feel like that's concussion-y. Is that
Oh
not
yeah,
like
yeah,
super
yeah.
concussion-y?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
The guy I'm talking about, he looks like the giant from Game of Thrones. What that guy's name is. I'm not a big Game of Thrones guy, but anyways, he's told me stories. Yeah, he showed me the mountain. That's his name. Yeah, not his actual name, but yeah. So they just came a few months ago. They went to like Spain, and they had an international tournament in Nashua. That's the main one in the United States. They won, representing Nashua. So
Wow.
worldwide, that's props. Yeah.
Nashua really representing. You got the first kava bar in New England, and representing the country in night fighting.
Hey, you may need to get them on the podcast, because I bet they could.
I think so.
Yeah,
we may
there'd
have to
be
go
some
to
great-
them though.
That sounds dangerous.
just wear armor. That's it.
I'll need a lot of armor because I'm not trying to take any of that business. I'm too old for that shit. I actually broke my wrist this summer, but it was part of why it took so long for the Doing Better show to come back, because I was playing basketball and I fell and I broke my wrist. And the recovery, being a grown ass adult from an injury, fucking sucks. I broke my left wrist when I was 15, and it was like, I remember getting out of the cast. I just remember like back to normal life, like whatever. I got out of the cast with this thing, and I couldn't. I couldn't do anything.
I was trying to scratch under that thing. That shit's fun.
Oh yeah, no fun.
Yeah, that's like Chinese torture.
Yeah, no, but the getting back to life has been like I still
We're
can't.
canceled.
I still can't like.
Snuck that one in.
I still can't like push up or anything, and it's like 3 months later. It's brutal. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be getting in the ring to get my fucking bell rung by somebody with a weighted axe anytime
They wouldn't
soon,
let you
but
do that, but maybe talk to them about it and advertise for them. I don't, because you have to buy your own armor if you want to participate, and it's like $3,000 to $10,000 depending on what you're going to get, and you need it because they're going to take a sword to your head.
Yeah, I think we're over that for now.
So
Yes.
what's pretty neat is that they're it's both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have women going after men, and the one that comes into my bar, shout out to her, Megan. She's a badass. I mean, she's very she's not like a big but she still throws down.
Yeah.
I'm gotta be careful what I'm saying. I'm starting to get myself in the corner, but you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. No, point made. Yeah, you closed. It was getting a little chilly. So one of the things you alluded to, and we talked a little bit about last time we spoke, but I really want to get into it again because I think it's so interesting, and I think it's a theme that runs throughout a lot of what we talk about. You couldn't just go and open your kava bar, right? Like you had some serious hurdles to jump over to do this. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So when I first opened the bar, it was fresh on my mind. So I used to kind of talk to my customers, kind of what my experience I went through with it. It was quite some time. So I'm going to pull back into the memory bank of everything that happened. But it was a lot. Yeah. It was definitely a lot. So when I first introduced the idea to the city, they didn't know what kava was. They didn't understand it. And, they had people above them, on a state, federal level. And, there was erroneous claims about kava. They said it was a hallucinogen.
It's not.
I'm not hallucinating. I feel good.
No, you can drink, a Tanoa, which is our big bowls that we serve it out of. You're not going to see pink leprechauns. And no, I don't even know how they even were able to say that. So with that being said, I went through the whole build out process and, the last, hurdle or the last licensing was the health permit. And, at this point, I threw everything on the line. It was all a gamble. I put my life savings, I hit it, not big, but I was in the crypto space at that time. So I was able to take some of my Doge that I did pretty well on and put all that towards it. And I get the word back that, no, you can't open. So I'm looking around like, I don't have a job. I put everything into this. I'm like, what am I going to do? I have 2 kids, a wife. My wife is a stay-at-home mother. So, the walls were closing in on me. Anything I said, I had to get lawyers. Everything that they sent to the city, they either didn't respond or they didn't respond at all. So we went 3 months of all that, and it was treacherous. Yeah.
And what did you end up having to do to make it happen? What was there?
I wrote I call it the Kava Manifesto. All right, so I went into Whole Foods. I went into Walmart. I took pictures of kava. It's on the shelves. You can buy it on the retail stores. You can go on Amazon. You're a 12-year-old kid. You can order yourself some kava. So I did that on our quarter, the American Samoan quarter. There's a kava plant on it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's on our money. You can buy it in Walmart. It's not like I was trying to bring the first kava bar to the United States. It's,
right.
I moved up to New Hampshire, live free or die. That's also part of it that really kind of got under my skin. I'm like, what am I missing here? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the motivation was there to just kind of push this out. So I enclosed, the pictures of the American Samoan quarter. I took pictures of kava and enclosed that. And then I, wrote this little personal, few paragraphs. And, I'm half Filipino, which is the Pacific Islands. I'm half Irish, so I just kind of analyze the whole situation. Look, like if I decided to open up, if I embraced my father's culture, Irish, and I opened up, Gately's Pub, selling heart attack hamburgers and Jaeger bombs, like I would have been open, no problem. They gave me the key to the fucking city, probably, right? But because I decided to embrace my mother's culture and I didn't quite blend into Nashua. And I said that. There's a lot kind of
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot to read into that. I said I feel like that I'm being treated unfairly. So, yeah, that's kind of... I usually don't like to pull that card, but at that point I was like, I didn't really know what else was holding this whole thing up.
Right.
So, I didn't get a call back from them. My lawyers didn't get any responses for like 3 months. The next day they responded to me. It was that manifesto, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So sometimes you just got to take things in your own hands, despite what, it was that gut feeling. You know what I mean? That it was that feeling that was just deep inside of me that was telling me, Greg, this is the move you have to do. So.
Yeah, I think that's why it's one of the things that really inspires me about your story and about about you in general actually is that I think this is the moment in time when this is the solution to a lot of our problems. Is just fucking go do it. Decide what the right thing to do is, and just make it happen. And you know that there will be resistance. The system is not just gonna be like, okay, go ahead. Like there will be, you will have to fight, and you will have to prove that you're right. But eventually, that's what wins out.
And what's wild is that even if you're right, you know what I mean? Like you could be, which it was. I was right about the whole thing, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If they literally are the gatekeepers,
right?
And you have to create some sort of stink that is, in my situation, I was able to, lean into my heritage and all that, but there's a lot of people that have to, think of different angles on how to conquer the system, and it just happened to be mine.
I think so. We skipped the election season, and that wasn't an accident. I don't love electoral politics. I think a lot of it is fake, and I think I've never found a politician that I thought was worthy of my devotion and admiration, and to this day that has stayed true. Anytime I've been like, oh, this guy seems interesting, I think I might believe in them. I'm like, and I'm mortally disappointed very quickly after. And I have a feeling that this current presidency will be that for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people were really openly rejected what was going on in the Biden administration. I think that was the vast majority of people I talked to about politics hated everything that was happening in the Biden administration. I think that was pretty well across the board.
It's fair to say that.
And I think Trump did a great job, miraculously again, as like positioning himself as the anti-establishment sort of piece there, and has got a ton of energy right now, and got had a resounding election victory.
He got shot at too. People be forgetting that. It could be fake or not, but still that's crazy.
Nah, that wasn't fake, man. There's no possible way.
I don't know.
Can't trust nobody.
I don't trust anything unless I see it with my bare eyes. I don't trust shit. But it appeared to be on the level. We did an episode about after the shooting.
If I had to say if I believed it or not, I believe it.
If I was going to put my money in a basket, I would say it was probably real. What do you think, Beth? Real or fake on the shot in the air?
Well, it was kind of like a John Lennon thing, so I'm pretty sure it's real.
It
was a fan that was obsessed with him.
Was he? I thought he was
He was a registered Republican. He was all
was
up
he?
in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I never, the interpretations I never necessarily buy. But anyway, all that aside, the one thing, there's one piece of maybe positive change that might come. So my general take on this, and I'd be happy to hear you guys, but my general take was that I didn't vote for Trump because I don't vote for anyone who's ever going to win. I always vote for some third-party wacko, because that's just who I am. No, wacko is the wrong word. Principled human being who doesn't want to send my money to other countries to kill people. So I've always been anti-war. I voted anti-war every single vote that I've ever had an opportunity to vote, regardless of whether I think my vote particularly counts. So, but I must admit that on election night, when I was watching all the things come in, I was rooting for Trump. And the reason for that was the more the government gets done, the worse things are, in my opinion. So if everyone stonewalled him like they did for 4 years and he doesn't get anything done, that's better than Biden getting things done. Because the things that they get done, for as long as I've been paying attention to politics, I don't think they've done anything that I've been like, yes, that's a good idea. Thank God you did that. Thank God you invaded Iraq and killed 1 million people and spent however many trillions of dollars. Thank God you did Obamacare, which was just a giant giveaway to the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies. There's almost nothing that I would say that the federal government has done, since late 90s. That's since I've been paying attention to politics, that I'm like, yes, that's things that I believe in. So my take was like, well, Trump's is more fuck shit uppy. These things are not gonna get done efficiently, and less will be accomplished by the federal government.
It's harder to buy somebody that's always been around money and knows how to make it.
He doesn't know how to make it.
See, I don't know if
Other people made it for him.
I don't think I buy.
That's a way of making money.
Celebrity Apprentice, I don't know. That was like the best TV show, highest ratings of all time, and that was after he went bankrupt. I actually I read the book that he has, The Art of the Deal, and the way that this man operates, I mean, he takes like 100 meetings a day, and he has like a method. All conversations are within 10 minutes, and something has to be accomplished in each one of those conversations. This guy's just a workhorse. I mean, he's like 76, campaigning, doing rallies every single day, getting shot at, you know, putting his fists up after getting, like, this guy's just built different, you know what I mean? Like, if, you know, and he just knows how to talk to the regular person in a way that we all kind of understand. I think that's what really helped him out.
So the one thing I've heard consistently about him from people that know him is about being a very easy person to get along with, and like a really someone who likes people. Now, I don't think that this is my worldview, but I think his success has been because he's in the system, because he's an insider. Like I think those people have access to the banking system, which basically gives you access to infinite money, so you can lose all kinds of money. And he's not special in this way. And I think one of the greatest moments that I've ever witnessed in American politics was him on stage with Hillary Clinton, when she's like, well, like, you're getting away with all this. And he's like, yes, because you people make it possible for me to do this.
Yeah, I'm just playing
because
the
your
system.
system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like that was like, again, I think one of the better moments that I've seen in politics. But I don't think it makes it not true. Like I still see Trump as an insider, and I still see him as part of the system. And I think, with the exception of a couple of cabinet choices, which I'm guessing won't go anywhere because they're not, we'll see about that. It seems like it's more of the same. Like it seems like, you know, he filled his cabinet with AIPAC insiders, you know, sort of real strong pro-Israel people. I don't think anyone is going to make any major disruption to the military-industrial complex. I don't think anyone's going to, you know, close any military bases or do any of those things that for me, that are most important to me. Except the RFK health stuff is interesting. And again, I'm not a huge RFK believer, mostly because he's allegiant to Israel and won't call what's happening in Gaza genocide, and I don't trust anyone who says that. So, but the idea that we are going to have someone who may threaten the food and drug monopolies is huge for me, and I think huge potentially for America. Now, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know that I have a feeling that they know Bobby Kennedy has not a great chance of getting confirmed, and I think there'll be enough industry insiders in there to stop him from getting much done. I'd be surprised if the billionaires that run Kellogg's and, you know, Bayer, Monsanto, whatever, and all these people are going to be like, that's okay, just take all our power away. We don't want to make a bajillion dollars. So I'm slightly optimistic about that part, I guess. Beth, it sounds like you got something to add.
So the one thing I wanted to think about was, have you renewed your insurance yet? Have you done
My health insurance?
your health insurance for next year?
I have not. Well, I mean, it just gets done. I just have it done automatically through work.
Yeah, but have you done the part you have to sign at the end?
I think that I don't think we have to do that. I think they just rolled over from last year.
Ooh, okay, so when Trump was first elected, they put in some stuff under executive order, which made it so if you're not in one of these states that protects your right to always getting healthcare access. So Massachusetts, you get sick, no matter with what disease, you will always have health insurance. They can't just say no, walk off.
Oh, the pre-existing conditions stuff?
So I've been getting my insurance since the Trump administration out of Minnesota. So, because I worked for a Minnesota company, and now I work for an Ohio company, so my insurance comes out of Minnesota, out of the Midwest, out of red everything. And when Trump made the executive order, they changed the insurance, so I have to sign a piece of paper saying I don't have pre-existing conditions. If I go to the doctor, they can hold my insurance and reassess it until after that doctor's appointment.
And for forever?
as long as I'm on their plan.
Are there plans that's not the case for, or is that something that's a universal?
That's the plans that are coming out of my work because they're from the Midwest.
Oh, I gotcha.
So I'd have to leave my insurance plan and find a private insurance plan and pay $500 to $1,000 a month on private health insurance in Massachusetts. Or am I paying $24 a month with my work? Which one can I afford?
Right.
So when Biden was elected, he didn't fix that. But it got to the point where I had to sign a piece of paper, and they couldn't do that to my health insurance. They could only do that to my life insurance, which that's fair. That's fair. If I find out having a terminal illness and they cancel my life insurance, okay. That documentation, they did not roll out our health insurance until after the election, the week after. That documentation that says they can freeze my account if I go to the doctors was back in it.
Really?
So I don't know how New Hampshire law is,
Interesting.
but it was in the Ohio documents.
Huh.
So I get my insurance out of a red state, and they slipped it in as soon as the election got called.
I'm confused on the timing because there's no legal meaning. Like there's no.
They're thinking people aren't going to push it. People aren't going to go, because if I went and sued now, it's not going to court until Trump has been sworn in. And they're going to be taking those things and they're going to start working on it and making it so that pre-existing conditions can now be.
But you said Biden didn't fix it?
Biden didn't fix it.
So I think.
That's why I'm upset with Biden. The reason I was always upset with Biden was, we're going to fix it. We're going to stop this. I'm going to be the emergency brake. That was the campaign. I'm going to be the emergency brake. You don't have to like me. In fact, everyone fucking hates me, but I'm the emergency brake. And he was. He stopped the ball. But he didn't go, okay, now let's fix what broke.
Well, so it's funny because we're both talking about our preferred candidate, and this is again, Colin Trump, my preferred candidate is whatever. But effectively,
no, there was no preferred candidate.
But you know what I'm saying? But we're both talking about it in terms of stopping what the other guy's going to do.
Yeah.
Not what is my guy going to do for me.
Exactly.
It's are they going to stop? Like, so one of the big things.
Well, that was the thing is they stopped. But are you going to fix? Are you going to do better? Are you going to do what? And they didn't. And that's why they lost.
But no's been the answer to that question forever.
Yeah.
Like for all the presidents. Like
Yes.
so I don't.
Realistically, like with everything, with all the laws and everything that's going on, like how he was saying, Trump tries to have conversations in 10 minutes. The president probably looks at every single thing, like they just tell him a quick brief. This is the law. Yes, no. This is this. Yes, no. All day. So it could have just been one of those days.
Well, so but I guess my take to that is what sort of pushed me in the libertarian-ish direction. Is it? Do we just have? If that's the case, if the president can't actually get a good briefing on a law, then do we have the federal government controlling too much of our lives?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
It should be divided amongst the people. There should be more local accountability, more power to the local government rather than the federal government, which. Like, it could be 1,000 people, but you're telling me you got to read a million different complaints and, adjust laws, do all of these different changes and care about all of them equally? Like, that's just not, like, the math is not there.
Yeah, smaller government, definitely the right way to go. But inevitably, you're going to have your federal government, right? That's not going anywhere. And I think, well, I'll tell you now, the biggest thing I'm excited about is, Trump talked about it in his first, presidency, was draining the swamp. I think he went into that thinking it was going to be a lot easier said than done. He's hiring people that he was advised, and all of a sudden they're getting fired, a couple weeks later. So I think I am very excited to see RFK, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, the two Democrats just talking about off the top of my head, and that new guy that's going to be running that border, dude's a fucking beast.
That's true, but so the border stuff is we've talked about immigration a lot on here before, and my take on immigration is a couple things, and it's not as relevant to the border thing necessarily, but what are you pointing to? Did I mess something up?
The camera's kind of fucked.
Oh, which one?
The top one.
Oh, fix it, boy.
I don't know what you want to do with that.
You'll figure it out. I believe in you.
Figure it out.
I believe in you.
We just find a broomstick.
So the two issues that don't get talked about with immigration that should be one, legal immigration is difficult, unnecessarily difficult and complicated, especially for people to get work visas. I believe it should be difficult to become a citizen of a country. That's a big deal. That comes with entitlements. That comes with all sorts of things, right? So you shouldn't just be able to go, oh, I want to be a citizen of the United States and move here. But realistically, when you look at our economy, our aging population, et cetera, you should be able to say, I want to come and work here and fairly readily become a legal worker. That way you get, you can pay taxes, you can contribute in all the ways you need to contribute, and then live under protection of the law. So that's thing one. Thing two is our foreign policy has made immigration. Like we've blown up countries, we've economically destroyed countries all over the world. If you look at the number one immigration in Europe right now, it's all from countries that we blew the fuck up with, with our bajillions of dollars of tax money spent in the military-industrial complex. So like, those are the two unspoken things that no one in the media, no one in the major party seems to talk about. That said, I am 100% pro securing the border right now. Mostly for humanitarian reasons, quite frankly, because what people are going through to get to this country right now is not okay. It's 2024. People should immigrate on fucking planes. I'm sorry. It's not okay that you have to go, you and your kid have to go through the fucking jungle and then get smuggled in by some drug dealer and like that whole piece. And then what's happening on the other side of the border with the human trafficking, with the social services agencies that have popped up and are not being monitored or taken care of. Like, there's all sorts of horrendous, nasty stuff happening on the border.
300,000 children are missing right now that came across the border.
Right. So, like, all that stuff, I'm pro sealing the border. The idea of deporting people, I find really practically problematic. I don't know how you can, in a humane way, round people up. And I think so. Like, if somebody's caught committing a crime and they're not here legally, then send them the fuck home. If you want to if you want to stop giving people the benefits that are causing them to want to come here and cut that off and say, no, we're not giving you any more checks, but here's a flight home, and offer them that way, I'm okay with that too. I think those are both fair and reasonable things. But the idea and the idea of the military being floated to go and actually round people up, I find horrendous, and I can't. It's fine, Des. Yeah, it's good. We got everybody. So as long as you're good on your controlling, we're good, and we'll do some stapling next time to figure this out. We've upgraded a lot of the equipment here at the Doing Better show, but we still got a wire problem that we'll work on.
The other problematic bit is the football issue, which is, and it's been since Bush W.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, if you are here and you get deported, but you've had a child, your child's a U.S. citizen, but your child can't stay here by themselves. So they're deporting U.S. citizens to wherever they are. And then the children, when they're 18, if they survive, if they have the financial means, can come back and then try to support their families to come back. But what's going to happen is those kids aren't going to have the financial means. They're not going to have those opportunities. And those are U.S. citizens. And we are losing our own talent and resources because Joe Smo here they don't like melanin.
But see, I think that side of it is entirely overplayed by the liberal media. I gotta tell you,
but it's still, it was interviewed, and they were asking.
Latinos actually voted higher than ever for closed borders, obviously for Trump, so.
And I personally know Latinos that will say send them all the fuck home. Right? So like that. See,
we immigrated over here, not
I think the racism thing is so overplayed, and I think this is why Democrats lost the election. I think when you go, half the country's racist and stupid, that's why we're like losing. No, you're losing because you don't stand for anything. The Democratic Party isn't anti-war anymore. If they said we're coming out against Israel, they would have won the election. We're not going to support the genocide in Israel anymore, they would have won. If they said we're not sending all your money to Ukraine anymore, they would have won. Those two things would have won the Democrats the election. But
I don't
they don't
know
stand
if
for
Kamala
anything.
would have won anything.
Or
Man.
if they actually stood for Ukraine.
They possibly could have wheeled Joe Biden in a wheelchair and like Weekend in Bernie's. He probably would have won over Kamala. I mean, Kamala was just horrendous. across the board.
The interviews
There's
are
so
bad.
many
Do you ever watch
memes.
those interviews and then the pandering to let's get all these
And the fact that she's already
celebrities?
in power right now, or in a position of power, and still not doing anything. Like, if
That's
she
why
needs the
couldn't-
next seat.
Yeah, that's why she couldn't answer any questions. You know what I mean?
But I really do think it goes back to the strategy of the Democrats has been for quite some time is to basically abandon working people and focus on the suburbs and try and get the sort of suburb boomer vote and the college educated white woman vote. And that's not enough people to win elections.
Yeah.
I think that the traditional Democrat, they're frustrated out of their minds right now. And I see it. I have conversations with people in the bar. They're like, this used to be our party. Now it's gone way too far in a direction that we don't even recognize a party anymore. And, the MAGA side or, whatever you want to call it, they never judged them. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't be like, oh, you're a piece of shit because you're a Democrat. Never casted any, negative things. We're open to bringing in anyone with, common sense. That's the way, I think that a lot of people are just looking for that. Like, hey, there's a lot of things we want to talk about and address, and there's a lot of stuff going on this side that is just a little too far. Who's saying it the right way, who's actually delivering a clear message. And I think this election was pretty straightforward, man. Like, it was you're told it's gonna be close, all these polls that came out, oh, it's neck and neck. But at the end of the day, it was like 10 o'clock at night. They were damn near calling the election. It was pretty straightforward.
The only reason it lasted so long, the counting, I feel like, it's because they tried to rig it, but they couldn't because everybody was watching it. Because there's no way Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama.
No fucking way.
No fucking way.
Yeah, I don't know.
No way.
So here, as I've said before, I haven't trusted elections since hanging chads with George W. Bush in Florida in 2000. So maybe I never dove into any of that stuff.
Did you ever see that graph?
Yeah.
Dude, there's never been a graph ever made that shows.
Bruh.
This is like when after midnight, when everyone fell asleep, like it was like, Trump a little bit up, and then all of a sudden we woke up. Boom, the graph went directly up.
The 81 million thing does raise some flags, but again, I don't know.
Alex Jones was live streaming certain places that there was counting, like multiple media teams.
Yeah,
Like
Shout
they
out
were
to
like, you know
Alex
what, we
Jones.
kind of gotta. I know that they were just like, yeah, we can't.
so here's, I thought the Trump was going to win, and the reason I thought Trump was going to win is because I travel often around the country, and I go into print shops, and that's about as working class as you can get these days. And I talk to people in print shops, and I don't ever bring up politics. It's certainly not partisan politics, but that almost always comes up in some way, shape, or form. And I never heard anybody saying anything passionately pro-Democrat this time around. I didn't have anyone be like, yes, Kamala, blah, blah, blah. I heard a lot of people doing that with Trump, and a lot of people going like, yeah, well, at least Trump's not blah, blah, blah. And that's the majority thing I heard above all else. The thing I've never heard, and in talking to anybody, is anybody say anything racist. And I think I was in Dallas a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to the shop owner, who is a guy of Indian descent who grew up in Trinidad. I think it was Trinidad. Anyway, he went to school in Toronto, and we were shooting the shit because I also went to school in Toronto, and he's been living in Dallas, Texas since 90 something. And he said he's raised his kids there, and he had never once in his entire life had experienced racism in Dallas, Texas, and never once had his kids experience racism in Dallas, Texas. And it's something that I've heard from multiple people on multiple occasions, and is the exact opposite of what you hear if you turn on the TV. Yeah. And to me, it was just a really remarkable. And again, I'm not saying there's no racism. We still have systemic racism. We still have more black people in jail for simple drug possession than we do other races. But that's the fucking government doing that. That's not your neighbor. That's not somebody, whatever. So there are racist people out there. That's certainly true.
I think that we were doing really well. I'm a 80. Well, grew up in the 90s. You know, 80s baby.
Yep.
And like 90s, like was a time period where I grew up in Cali, so it was a melting pot. But man, nobody looked at people for color. You hardly ever heard about it. You know, Morgan Freeman said, the guy asked, so how do you get rid of racism? He said, stop talking about it. Like,
Yeah.
why is everything about race? Why is everything about sex? Like, why is shit just pushed in your face? Like, this is what we need to be angry about. If you get pushed that in your face, you're going to eventually start thinking, And then when you're taught now in school systems that, if you're this certain color, if you're, a minority of this such, the system's against you. You're going to walk out the house every day like, damn, I'm fucking fighting the system. The odds are against me. Like, that's the complete opposite of, motivating, a society.
Certainly, and I think that the idea is that the people are against you more than the system's against you, because that's the more dangerous and I think negative idea. The idea that everyone else out here is going to be racially persecuting me. And it goes both ways, by the way. If you go on Fox News, they'll tell you white Christians are being persecuted and everybody hates them, right? Like, depending on which, if you consume any mainstream media, it'll tell you and your people are being persecuted by the other guys. And
to sell catheters.
Well, right, and that message sells, and that message keeps the people in power,
Yeah.
right? The bankers and the warmongers, quite frankly, don't care about any of these issues. Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock, came out and said, "I don't care who wins the fucking election, I win regardless." Not the exact quote, but like, the people. There's no threat to major power from either party, which is why, as always, I'm much less interested in world politics and certainly global politics as I am as local politics and what people are doing, like you, to actually take things into their own hands. Because there was no government program that brought Kava into my life. There was Greg brought Kava into my life and brought it to Nashua. And that was you just laying them out there on the table, getting them hammered a couple times and still coming back out and doing it. And I think that's the stuff that's going to change, that does change things for the better, is when we reject things that don't work with our values, and then we embrace things that do, and we make them happen.
100%. And to go back to it, I would say that I don't think it's a racism issue. I think it's a classism issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that, the same struggles that a white person's going through if they're broke and poor is the same one that a Filipino, a black person, Hispanic person, they're all going to feel the same shit. And yes, we are being put into a machine, a system that is very, very tough to make it out of, 100%. So with that being said, classism, I think that's really the issue. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I just had a first generation immigrant mother that was a hustler that I used to watch just unapologetically, continue to be a good-hearted person while working her ass off. And, that was that's like the secret recipe, it's, you don't need to grow up with going to private schools, but, if you have that hustle, that right attitude, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that, and I think that the idea of getting some sort of class consciousness, to steal a Marx term, but the idea that we're sort of all in this together, and that includes not just people who are very poor. If you don't own all your property outright and have $1 million in the bank, you're no better off than any of the rest of us. And like at least $1 million in the bank. Like, there's lots of your friends out there driving BMWs and Porsches. Most of them are broke too. When it really comes down to it, they're fancy broke, but they don't actually but they don't have any actual, sort of basis of financial strength.
Yeah, nowadays it's like you're either broke or really rich. There's no in between.
Yeah, paycheck to paycheck is, I think it's, the average person, if there's a $500 emergency,
right,
they don't have that money available to them.
Right.
Yeah, it's scary. And, I really feel bad for people that are in college right now. They don't have the same opportunity to buy a house, to buy a house now. I mean, even if you do have the money and, you can put down that down payment, BlackRock,
Yep.
They're the largest owner of, homes. They're going to swoop in, pay 10% over retail value cash. And, what buyer's going to say no to that, So,
no, and they drove up the market incredibly. It's a sin. And the fact that again, our banking system is always going to create this because the people who have access to the banking system can print money out of thin air, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can buy all these things, and the rest of us have to work for the money. And this is the issue that, again, we need to be. These are the things we need to be focused on, is some of these incredible systematic inequalities. There's a reason that billionaires have been, getting billionairier every year. And
After COVID.
Well, certainly,
gracious.
absolutely. But even just with every crisis, every thing that happens, anytime there's a downturn in the economy, billionaires are fine. Working people take it in the shorts. And that's why we haven't seen workers get any real growth in income since the 70s in pretty much any Western country. Coincidentally, it's when we came off the gold standard. All right, let's switch gears to some other things. Des, can you go on my thing for a second? I thought this was kind of funny and cool, so I figured we'd share. Oh shit, I suck at. There we go. All right, so I saw this little bit, and I want to share with you guys.
I tried extended sobriety. I don't know if any of you guys done that, but it's fucking horrible, man. Just getting assaulted by clear-headed thoughts. Because I reckon, like, one of the most underrated things about drinking is actually hangovers, because you always have a really good reason to feel like shit. You'll be going to the office on a Tuesday and, you hate your life and you're miserable, and then you're like, oh, that's right, I had 35 beers on the weekend, it's not existential. But once you've been sober 8-9 weeks, you start going like, oh, turns out I have depression. Like, is this a 9-week hangover, or am I just a reluctantly sentient mammal in a decaying flesh vehicle in a relentless cycle of aimless consumerism, painfully conscious of the fact that all pleasure is inherently fleeting and everything I love and cherish is doomed for a rapidly impending perpetual oblivion?
So, I wanted to share that because I think a lot of we have a drug abuse crisis in this country right now. All you have to do is go to any major city and you'll see homelessness, which is intertwined, not always 100%, but often intertwined with drug abuse. We have lots of housed people who have drug problems, who are
Homed people.
who require psych meds of all different kinds to get through the day. And I think these people, more often than not, are symptoms, in my opinion, rather than sick individuals. I think many of the people that struggle with mental health problems, diet aside, because there are diet and the toxicity of our environments definitely contributes to that. But that aside, we're living in a fairly unnatural way of living. We are absolutely taxed to the bone by, I don't mean taxed literally, but in our lives to make ends meet. You have if you have a family, we're talking about housing prices. Your both parents are working pretty much across the board, right? The ability to have one parent stay home, you're really getting things right and really having to do some calculation and figuring to pull those things off. The vast majority of us are busting our asses, and of course we're depressed and addicted to drugs and anxious and anxiety comes from being $500 away from from being screwed, right? Like, and being a paycheck or two away from homelessness, whatever. Like, of course you're anxious. There's no chemicals that are wrong in your brain. Our society is fucked and we need to fix it. Same thing with depression, right? Like, if you turn on the news and you watch the news every day, you're going to get depressed. It's fucking depressing, right? Like, that's not a mental health problem in any more than I think most of the people who have drug problems, that's the root cause. I think the root cause is that we've made it incredibly hard just to get by in society, and we're bombarded with constant negativity at every single turn.
And Instagram.
And Instagram. Well, yeah. So negativity, or look how amazing everyone else is.
Yeah.
And with it's face tuning is a new term I've heard. Have you heard of the term face tuning? Heard of face tuning? So this
Filters?
is what no. So it's actually what these, because it's beyond, it filters to the next level. It's what they do when they like go on and edit how they look, and literally like a lot of these Instagram models that are so beautiful, they don't look like that. They've like literally like changed their cheekbones. And
Photoshop.
like,
So it's
Shout out to
Photoshop.
Lightroom and
Yes.
Photoshop. Shout out to Adobe, actually.
For us Xers, Photoshop.
yeah, right. So yeah, it's
They still use it.
right. So that whole thing, like, it's like we're in a machine to create anxiety and depression. So like for all of you out there, like you're okay. Like it's not your fault. This shit's fucked. Do something about it.
Just book me for $300. I got you.
He'll
I
face
got
tune the shit out of you.
I got you.
So anyway, I thought that was an interesting little thing I wanted to share. Let me share. So this is another one. I've talked about this a little bit before. I've gone through all of the diet and whatever trends over the years. I read a ton about factory farming and big ag and all that. And what that led me to at the age of 19 was to stop eating meat. And I stopped eating meat, and I was vegan for large chunks of my life. And I still haven't. I'm back to eating fish, but I still haven't made that next leap. Whatever. And when I stopped eating meat, the reason it stuck is because I felt my health improved. Very clearly, my health improved. And I always attributed that to not eating meat anymore. And I don't think that's why I saw an improvement in my health. So I wanted to share this little clip because I thought it was really interesting.
100. They eat mostly starch. Then you have the Eskimos who never eat starch. They only eat meat. They eat fish all the time. And once in a while, they'll go and eat some seaweed. They live to 100. Then the Maasai tribes in East Africa, and I'm familiar with them because I'm an African, they drink blood and they drink milk. And once in a while, that cow dies, then they'll eat the cow. And they live to 100. What's wrong with all these people? How come? The one thing they all have in common is not this diet, that diet, meat, no meat. One thing they all have in common, all eat non-processed food. Natural food. That's what they eat.
So,
100%.
yeah, so
100%.
I think that the reason I felt an improvement in my health when I stopped eating meat is I wasn't eating the factory farm fucking steak and cheese nasty like super processed trash meat and trash cheese and whatever, but I also wasn't eating the super processed bread that went with it, and like it sort of was a shift in my whole diet to eating more whole foods. And I think for me, the part that I cut off in the beginning talked about the Okinawans who eat all starch and live to 100.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean, just to add on to that, I mean, I've heard many stories of people going to Europe, eating the same stuff they would eat here, bread, pastas, and they lose weight. If you look at the ingredients, it's like flour, water, yeast. That's why I just go to bakeries now. And there's many local bakeries. Support your local bakeries, and the bread tastes better, and it doesn't have canola oil, seed oils, rapeseed oil. Rapeseed? I don't know how the fuck they got that name, but they are literally doing that to you. But it's not, you can either be a vegan. There's more than one way to skin a cat. You can lose weight by being a vegan, being a carnivore diet. Amazing. I used to be a skinny fat guy. I didn't, I shredded down. I have a 6-pack. I'm 42. I did it the right way. I did all researched it. I figured out, carbs. I thought carbs was, the devil. So I cut out carbs. And yeah, I definitely got some good results. But on the other side, you can actually eat carbs and get shredded. It's just don't eat the processed shit. So whole foods, eat some good quality breads, rice, potatoes, veggies, and stay away from processed shit. Straight up. That stuff is just poison.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the hardest thing to do. So that's the other thing, especially if you're living somewhere, they call it a food desert, but if you're living somewhere that doesn't have access to a lot of that stuff, and if you're on public assistance, you can go and buy Coke with your SNAP, which is fucking insane to me. Like how we're supplementing both ways, by the way, because with the farm bill, with the money the federal government gives out to farmers, we supplement wheat, soy, corn, which get turned into all the processed shit that's not good for you, and then ends up on your corner store shelf or your 7-Eleven shelf or wherever you have access to, living where you do without a car or whatever, if you're a person without means. And then we're subsidizing it again because we're paying for it. I heard the figure earlier. It was some $20 billion, some ridiculous number that goes from the taxpayers to Coca-Cola via poor people.
And it didn't used to be like that.
No.
When I was growing up, you could use your substance for, you could get milk. And what would happen, because this is a relative of mine who did this, she would take her milk and she'd go to the neighbor who couldn't get milk because they weren't on substance, but they couldn't afford milk, and she'd give them milk. And then she would get freezer pops for her kids. But then she wasn't giving her kids the milk, and so her eldest had some health problems and still has some health problems because she wanted the freezer pops. So she took her benefits, which wouldn't let her get junk food, traded it to someone who couldn't afford the milk but could get the junk food, and would do that. She moved her family so I'm from Idaho, we're ultra conservative, and she moved the family to the liberal side on the border and got the benefits, and then used the benefits to get things that would have been good for the kids, and traded it. So when they have that really bad examples of poor people doing things that they're not supposed to with benefits, I have a cousin. I am the Jeff Foxworthy of that. And so when we were growing up, my dad was like, well, we can get benefits, but I have to be online for 6 hours a day to get that milk for you, or to get that bread for you to be able to go to the grocery store, or I can make the bread. So his choices were, he was trying to work, he was trying to get us out of this situation. We just went without. We learned how to make everything from scratch. Perfectly healthy childhood.
Right.
But yeah, and it was hard. It was really hard to get out of being that class and getting into a home and getting out of Idaho. Getting out of Idaho and getting here, and then not having the $95 needed to have a kitchen table when we moved here, and then moving up. And it was hard, but it was good for us, and we never went into that hole that you can't get back out of. And I was shocked when I started working at the grocery store and people were buying soda with food stamps, because where I came from, if you got food stamps, you could get milk, you could get bread, you could get meat.
Right.
But that's WIC. And so they still have that program, and then they expanded it and has things so you can get chips and soda. And then the part that really shocked me was you can have a debit card, so you get an allowance for things that even food stamps don't get you, which I completely understand. Things are expensive and rules are weird. And yes, there's always room for abuse. But if you don't have the programs there, the people who need them can't use them.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of sad. But.
And I think it's important with all these things. Like, every politician wants to make you think, and everyone on the news, this is a simple thing, and people who disagree with me are fucking bad people. And that's not the case. These things are complicated. And even just, so I don't think there's any easy takeaway of like, yes, these are good programs, or no, they're bad programs out of the conversation that we're having right now, right?
It's
this stuff's complicated, and like the devil is often in the details and how do we manage these things and all that stuff. It's why I tend to like things that are managed locally, because then you get variety in the way things work, and we get more information on what works well, and you have more accountability. But that also doesn't solve all these things either. So.
When you have a society, too, that's eating, all the stuff in the grocery store, all those middle aisles, for the folks that have, WIC, that are subjected to only eating these things, that's perfect for the system.
Of course it is.
They're going to be ill. They're going to have diabetes. They're going to be getting XYZ medications. And that is, that's a profitable business model.
They're going to bury you, and then they're going to tax you, and then they're going to pass it on to your kids, too, if you had any semblance of money.
And you're not starting any revolutions. Let's be honest.
Hey, let's go.
Like if you're sick on the couch, you're not starting any revolutions.
No.
So I think that's important. So, again, back to both the importance of family and parents to steer and make things happen. And then information is huge in this, because I think we don't teach home ec in schools anymore, and I think that's on purpose for the same reason. I think it's a real shame.
They just want you to have an apartment with like some room service type of Uber Eats type of DoorDash.
Right, and like my mom teaching me to cook was one of the most amazing gifts that I ever got, and it's one that my daughter's an excellent cook, and my son can get by a little bit too. And by the time he leaves me, he will certainly be able to make sure he can cook himself a healthy meal. I got another one I want to show you guys. So this is Josh Hawley, who is a Republican, but he's talking some good shit here. So I thought it was an interesting one. So this is he's got the credit card companies in front of him.
Margin. Ms. Kirkpatrick.
It's circa 50%.
Mr. Sheedy.
Their profit margins.
Slightly higher.
It's higher than 50% profit margin?
Slightly higher than MasterCard, yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. 50% profit margin. I mean, that's absolutely unbelievable. What's the answer to the Walmart question, by the way, that Senator Welch posed to you? What's Walmart's interchange fee that you negotiate with them?
I don't have it with me today.
You don't have any idea whatsoever? Is it higher or lower than 2.5%?
Walmart negotiates their rates based on the business that they do with us.
Meaning they're big, they're really big, they're gigantic, so they get a better deal than Mr. Callahan or most small businesses in Missouri. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Senator, we have volume discounts that we offer to some merchants. I suspect Walmart is one of them. And, I don't believe that it's commercially unreasonable to get an arrangement where in exchange for more volume, a merchant can qualify for lower rates?
Well, I'm sure it's not commercially unreasonable for Walmart, or certainly it's in their financial interest and in yours, but I doubt it's in Mr. Callahan's financial interest. And my question to you, Mr. Callahan, is when you've got Walmart and other major competitors getting charged much less than you are, why in the world would you stick with these guys? I mean, why is it that small businesses continue to use Visa and MasterCard when you're getting charged so much more?
It's in my opinion, it's a matter of convenience for the customer, and customers matter to our business.
Maybe is it because that Visa and MasterCard are effectively monopolies? They control 80% of the market?
Certainly part of the
80% of the market? I'm just having a hard time understanding, Mr. Sheedy and Ms. Kirkpatrick, you have a business model, you're making over 50% profit margin. You are able to give the shaft to small businesses. Estimated cost to Missouri businesses from these fees is $1.5 billion. That's with a B, $billion a year. Why aren't all of these businesses running away from this model? Because they don't have a choice, because you control so much of the market. This is classic monopolistic behavior, and yet your testimony here today is you don't want any competition. You have 80% of the market, but you don't want any more competition. I'm having a hard time finding that position defensible, let alone sympathetic.
So I just wanted to share that because
I'm getting stressed out over here.
50% profit margin is ridiculous. Like, short of military contractors, I can't think of anyone who could possibly play with those kind of numbers. Like, 50% profit margin. And it's something that we're moving more and more in that direction. We're getting less and less cash. We spend less and less cash. We use less and less cash. And these people are getting a chunk, 2.5% out of every single transaction. Think of that power. That every single time somebody spends $1 in this country, you're going to get 2.5 cents. For something that, especially given the level of technology now, like, it ain't hard what you're doing. Like, they're not providing some amazing, wonderful service for the rest of us. I don't. That needs to be something you deal with as a business owner.
Yeah, actually, I had a credit card company come in, and it's called. I used to work for a credit card company selling little devices, so I used to go through numbers and see like what people were, what they were using for transaction fees. But I had a company come in and say, hey, look, that exchange fee, you can actually pass that off. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't have to pay anything as a small business. He's like, more and more small businesses are doing this. And this is actually going to lead into a point that I'm going to make as it pertains to taking care of your customers. Mm-hmm. He said you can pass that transaction fee off to your customers, so you as a business owner won't pay a dime of that. He said it'll save you like, $3,000 to $5,000 a year. And me, like $3,000 to $5,000 is nice, but I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself. Putting that onto the customers, and it's not, especially in the hospitality industry, like you're there to take care of your customer. I feel like that you'd be, doing the complete opposite by passing that, exchange fee off. But no, it's criminal. It really is. The amount that we spend on as small businesses, but Walmart, they get to negotiate their rates. There is no alternative. So if anyone has a great idea, opening up a credit card company, is hearing this, I'm all ears,
Are there any realistic options for you as a business owner? Any of those other, are there any other pay systems that you can use that are less? Like, is there anything else?
I mean, good old fashioned cash. I mean, that's the only other alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, it is impossible. I'm trying to set up the electronic money, so PayPal or Venmo or any of those, and trying to get a business account for those is tooth and nail. And trying to figure out the taxes for that. And so when you're starting up and you're just in the early phases, sometimes you're just like, screw it. Okay, fine, Visa. Fine.
But there's no logical reason that there couldn't be competitors to this, right? Like I that's what I was trying to figure out.
Someone's got to have the money, and someone's got to be willing to wake up with a horse head in their bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there's we'll talk about it next week. There's a great episode. Tucker Carlson did an interview with Glenn Greenwald, who's one of my all-time favorite journalists. And they were talking about the basically the United States of blackmail, like how that's the horsehead thing is not a joke. That like that's sort of, if you wonder why everything's fucked up in this country and in a ways that's illogical, it's probably because something blackmail related.
Well, that's the thing is probably how much of our current government and our current policies are someone has Polaroids, someone has hacked someone's iPhone and has, well, I mean, if it's an iPhone, they have everything on the cloud.
Well, they were saying, so obviously we just got Epstein.
There's photos.
Epstein and Diddy were the same thing, right? Epstein and Diddy were doing the exact same thing. They were having parties with famous people, and they have cameras in every single fucking room, and that's how they played the game. It was a giant, basically a blackmail operation. They were also saying that the CIA has hooks in all the major porn sites for obvious reasons, and access to your camera. So I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't want any of that data out in the world of what they're doing on their own while they're in these type of videos that they choose, etc. So,
well, if anyone asks me, I just can't say it on YouTube.
So anyway, that's let's get into. But I think we're probably getting into that a little bit next week because I want to get into some of the details.
So one thing I wanted to bring up is kind of a PSA.
PSA.
So
I like it.
I got scammed. It turns out. From a Venmo scam.
Really?
Yes. So I just started my business. I took over that business that I was talking about during season 2.
For yoga?
Yeah, I'm the partial owner.
Hey, congratulations!
Thank you. I am. It is a money pit. It is a total money pit. And so in October, I thought there was things to go vend, and I was like, well, I really don't have anything to sell, but I would like to get our name out there. It's a craft fair, middle-aged women. That's my bread and butter. So I asked to be on it, and we're organizing it. Here's the Venmo, and I got the Venmo information. And then they're like, do you want to do the second day? And I'm like, well, let me think about it. I reach out to them to do the second day. The Venmo account's a secondary account, not the original name. And I'm like, that's a little shady, but the deposit's the same as what I would pay for marketing anyways. And so I go in, I'm really stressed out because I really don't want to do this. And I show up, and it turns out these people had gone through and did a very elaborate scam. They had forms you had to fill out. They had an email address that was the same email address as the company, all the things. And the actual venue knew the scam was happening and didn't say anything on their Facebook events. They just deleted the scams.
No.
And then they said, yeah, we saw them, and we just deleted the scams when we saw them. And then even to a day before, someone was asking about them, and the scammer was messaging her, and they didn't delete the messages, and they didn't tell her that that person was scamming her.
Wow.
So first off, I'm upset with the venue, and I'm going to deal with that on my own. But the other thing is that they used Venmo because they thought, oh, we just open the account and then we close it and we're scot-free. No, that is like permanent. It's across state lines. You just screwed yourselves.
But are they based in the States?
We'll find out.
Because that's I think the problem that I've seen with a lot of scammers and like people who just hack your fucking Instagram or whatever is, some dude hacked my Instagram and he's in Latvia. And it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do about that?
Yeah, so I'm gonna report it to Venmo tomorrow, and then if they can't do anything, I'll report it to Visa, and let's just say Visa's a little scary.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good. I think that's a good message in general that like we got to sort of work together on the scam stuff and people. Yeah. Anytime you hear any of that stuff, make sure everyone knows.
Yeah, I'm gonna blast it. I'm gonna blast the 2 handles. They're probably fake names. They probably stole somebody's name and used those.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm going to let the powers that be do what they need to do. And I'm not going to worry about it because the money was the same as what I would spend in marketing anyways. I'm just like,
yeah, but the trust, it's really sad
trust.
because it really erodes trust. And I think one of the things that you see right now in our society at large is we're a low trust society. Everyone thinks someone's going to steal their kid and scam them out of money and da-da-da-da-da. And it's really horrible for your interactions with people that are not going to scam you and steal your kid, which is the vast majority of people you meet on a day-to-day basis. 99% of the people you run into in real life are perfectly reasonable, decent human beings. And those couple fuckers, over there and a few fuckers above us really, really get rid of that and really make it hard for us to get along and trust our neighbors and feel safe and welcome in our communities.
and that's really the PSA I would like to give is that we have a lot of options within our neighborhoods and people we know, and we can work together to do things and not have to rely on just using social media or emails or expecting someone else to create something. You can create it yourself, you can create it with your friends, and then you know you're not getting scammed.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Keeping things local, keeping things building with the people around you is always the way to go. All right, we are getting a little tight on time, so I have like a ton of more stuff I want to do. We're always running out of time, and it's a Sunday night, so we got to get everyone home and ready for bed and for school in the morning.
You know it.
Yeah. Thank you, Engineer Des. Real quick, Des, go over to my screen. RootAwakeningKava.com is where you can find all about what's going on at the Kava Bar. Also, you guys are on Instagram. You do a lot of stuff on there too, right, Greg?
Yes, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Yep. Yeah,
all
that
the
good
places.
stuff.
So if you are anywhere near Nashua, New Hampshire, you should definitely come by there. And then also you have a new location coming.
Yes, so Worcester, Massachusetts, 180 Harding Street, right around the corner from the Polar Park. So, we just had our inspections. We got a couple left, so shooting for maybe a couple weeks. Yeah.
Sweet. That is super exciting. Hold on. There's one. There you go. 180 Harding Street in Worcester. That's where you got to go. So you're either there or up in Nashua with me. Come on up to Nashua. Yeah, but come check out Root Awakening Kava. It is an awesome place. Des, you want to switch back, please? Thank you. And I really, if you haven't tried kava, I highly recommend it, especially if you're moving away from alcohol. I'm just a huge fan of getting all of the benefits and none of the negatives from alcohol as someone who, as my wife will tell you, probably shouldn't drink.
I thought you had to take mushrooms, but now I got this.
There you go. So, and again, the vibe at Root Awakening is awesome. You guys always have cool events going on, and it's just a great community place to go. So I really highly recommend it. Would love to see any of you guys out there. If anybody wants to get together and meet up at Root Awakening, I am down.
Let's go. And this is actually a lot different, and this was fun. I never talk politics, so if you come into my bar, you'll never hear that come out of my mouth. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, middle. I love people for who they are. If you're a good person, I love you. If you're a shitty person, work on yourself. That's all. That's it. You know what I mean? So, we're accepting. We have the most diverse staff you're gonna find, and customer base.
Yeah,
so
that's facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I've never, other than you and I chatting over, just you and I've never had a politics discussion at a Root Awakening before. It's usually deeper, more meaningful, interesting stuff than that. So yeah, lots of good topics though.
We do like to bash the system though, so if you're about that, we got a lot to talk about at Root Awakening.
DC, Beth, any plugs you guys want to get in for the end of the day? Beth, tell us where to find your yoga stuff.
Oh, yes. So, www.essencehaverhill.com. We do community-based yoga. So every Saturday, 8 a.m. is a free yoga class. And then your first class is always free no matter what. We try to stay on a sliding scale. So, hi, sweetie.
Des, switch over real quick. Go ahead, keep going.
I had to rebuild the whole website, so that was my big fun once I finally got access. But we have a sliding scale, so if you are, we do $10 to $17 classes, and if you're a part of our community outreach program, so if you are on EBT, you are on SNAP, you are on WIC, you are a veteran, you just DM me, and we have $5 classes.
You guys hear that? This is serious community building. This is how we do it.
And this Friday, during the Santa Stumble, so there's a pub crawl going on in downtown Haverhill. At our site, we are doing a sound bath specifically for people who are in substance abuse recovery. So if you do not feel comfortable being around a bunch of drunk Santas, we're going to have a nice little calming sound bath, some coffee, some tea. Let's just chill the hell out. We got 6 spots left for that too, and it's completely free.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yoga is amazing. I just came from a yoga session. I think that, the power of, controlling our feelings, our emotions, it's all within us. God, that's something, we talked about a lot of stressful things today. And, how, it feels like the world's against us. And, through my journey of everything, I always held God tightly close to me. Whatever God means to you, I highly recommend figure that out, get a good, close relationship with it, because, the world is bigger than, us just sitting around, and, there's a lot more layers to it, and, it's all inside of us. So if you're struggling and, mentally, look inside of you and ask for some guidance.
Absolutely. DZ, anything you want to throw out there?
If you guys notice my shirt, it's Sensitive Club. I'm going to keep it short because I got to go somewhere that's closing at 10.
Cool. Let's show up our screen real quick. If you haven't seen us on YouTube, at Doing Better Show. If you haven't seen it, or if you're on Rumble, we're at Doing Better as well. Please join us and find us. Oh yeah, we'll deal with that after. Just get back to me.
Pardon.
Very excited and feeling very blessed and grateful to be here with such wonderful people on our first show of season 3. As you can tell, we are up in the game here. We are doing better. This season will be better than last season, which I think was better than the season before. We're getting better every day, and excited to have you with us. If you would like to get involved with the Doing Better Show in any way, if you have cool things you want to tell us about and come be a guest, that would be awesome. If you just want to come give your 2 cents and come get on the panel, that would be awesome. If you want to help behind the scenes, we need help. So we're always trying to do better. There's 1,000 things that we could do better than we're currently doing. So yeah, please help.
Like how he's saying we're currently doing better, so just ignore that the thumbnail still says Wednesdays, because it's Sundays.
Yeah, we'll get there. Sundays at 8 o'clock, we will be here. Maybe pre-show starting around 7:30. Find us. Thank you so much for joining us at the Doing Better Show. I am Oliver Ox. Peace. Thank you.